Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is. The Baddest Chaplain here with you, hoping all is well with you and yours. And today I'm joined by my brother, Eddison Wilkinson, bro. Eddie, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Not much. I'm living the dream right now. Just have the week off from my day job, so I'm feeling good.
That's it, man. That's it. No, it's important to finally get that chance to just lay down those burdens, man. Just take it easy a little bit.
100%.
No doubt, man. So let me ask you from jump, man. Like, what's your earliest memory of making people laugh? Like, was it some sort of, especially both being West Indian, where you just like brought into the living room, like, come Eddie, tell some jokes, go dance. Like, what was it? What was the essence when you realized you were funny?
I think according to people, that was like the first time. Like I remember my sister would talk about how my parents would bring me into the living room and I was sing hip hop hooray, and I was just get everybody waving their
Yes,
hands,
yes,
like in the living room or at the dining table, and that was like my signature thing. I think I just always loved like physical comedy, just getting like
mm-hmm.
amped up. My first like time that I remember doing it consciously and like for a purpose would be like I would say I think like in middle school I was a little bit of a clown just to kind of distract from like my own insecurities. But like I think when it came to like, oh, I could actually write really good jokes would be like my honors biology class in ninth grade.
Yes,
Like,
that's amazing.
it was just like it was something because it's like I like transferred to to a school that wasn't really in my district to be a part of the magnet program. I felt like an outsider at first, but then like I quickly realized like humor was a way for me to connect with people. So like I and plus I think I went to a school that was like in somewhat of like an urban area, like
Got you.
98% black, and so I come up here. I have like a very like suburban just mannerisms. And I remember one
Yeah.
day I forgot how the conversation go, but people just like everybody playing the dozens with each other. Teachers picked
Mhm.
the teacher was like, Edison, you're not black. And I was like, I definitely am black. I have the hate mail to prove it. And
That's right.
everybody went off and like the timing of that joke and just everything about it just hit. And I think I just like made honors biology like my type five. Like every
There it is. That's right.
I would purposely think of funny things to say during biology class because I knew I would have the stage to say it. So much so that
That's
like when my
amazing.
parents came for like back to school night and they're like I was a freshman, so they were worried like how is he doing? Is he adjusting well? And the
Right.
teacher he just comes up with the most clever things to say and like and like okay, cool, but can he does he know about biology?
Right. It's like it had nothing to do with the subject material. Just like that boy, every day, fourth period, man. He's amazing.
Pelican is great.
That's right. That's right. That's
And
awesome, man.
yeah, I just wish I just had like more of like of like a concentrated outlet to probably put that towards. I just never thought of like I never knew about sketch and improv back
Huh.
then. But I think if I had, that would have been amazing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, who were like the people that were making you laugh, or what were you watching to get inspired to be creative? And like, when did that turn into like, oh, you know what, I actually can do sketch and improv and things like that?
Man, I think it goes back to childhood. I think even though my parents wanted me to be a doctor, I think they primed me to be a comedian because it's like in our household,
Yeah,
dad had this rule like whenever we go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, we were only allowed to rent comedies.
that's amazing.
Yeah, we and because he didn't believe you should watch anything that wasn't happy, and so like that he went against dramas and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, like if we watch anything dramatic, it'd be because my mom, like, I remember like one weekend she rented the Titanic and we all watched that together. Except my dad. My dad is like,
He's like, there's no jokes in this. There's no
no
jokes
joke.
in this. Not one.
The last minute or two low.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But I think that was probably like my earliest like schooling without me knowing it. So just like watching, I think the Wayne's family probably
Oh
had one
yeah,
of the biggest profound impacts on my life. Just learning how to do physical comedy through watching like In Living Color as a family, watching all of their movies, whether it be like Major Pain, the scary movies, just everything that they put out. The Wayne's brothers. I mean, I think that was just like a great schooling of just like joke writing and physical humor that's like
for sure.
underrated. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
people always see it as like low hanging fruit, but I'm like, I think people just say it because they're black. I mean, when Will Ferrell does it, or when
It's
Jim Carrey,
funny.
it's
It's funny, but
this is genius. They just know what to do. But I think
right, right,
the Wayne's family. I mean, they I think some people are now giving them the roses, but I mean,
right.
going toe to toe with SNL back in the day. I mean,
Oh
they're
man,
phenomenal. So like the Wayne's family, I would say even on that end, we don't watch SNL as a family, but we watch like the SNL cinematic universe.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So like one of my dad's favorite movies was like Ladies Man. We watched
Yes,
uh all Adam Sandler.
right.
Watched a lot of Jim Carrey, and then of course like Martin, and then like yeah, just that '90s boom of comedy uh,
Yeah,
really impacted me. And then I think going on into like my 20s is when I started getting into like I think more of like that millennial humor is like when I started watching The Office, 30 Rock.
sure,
Tina
sure.
Fey had a huge impact on my writing, like even the way I think about jokes. And through improv, I would say like yeah, Tina Fey I think was like the first person I saw that who taught that about improv, and I was like, oh, I should look into this.
Hmm.
And then this black woman trio do it made me think, oh, black people could definitely do this. And that show
Right.
called Doppelganger, which had Shir Zameda, Nicole Byer, and Keisha Zolar. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I could let me find some black people to do this with. And that's wow.
That's it.
I think that's like that. I would say those are like my biggest influences. And then I have like other influences all over the place, like Simon Rich. I love reading Simon
Uh-huh.
Rich's short stories, and I think that's one thing that also kind of like makes you think about like how I could be myself. I think people who teach me how I could be myself while doing comedy
So real.
are
So
very
real. Because it comes from an authentic place, right? Like it's very hard to be authentically funny if you're just pretending to be someone else. That's got to be really stressful at the very least. Like even if you're good at it, it's just got to like be taxing. But it's got to come from like something true and something authentic. So I hear that for sure.
100%. And that was like my downfall. I think when I started doing comedy like 13, 12 years ago, I think like I was trying to be like so male because I first started doing stand up like my first
Yeah.
2 years. I think I was trying to be someone else. I was trying to be Hannibal Buress. I was trying to be a John Mulaney,
Got you.
and
Got you.
it never worked. And until
Right.
I mean, I think that's just part of the process. Event first you're trying. I think someone said it might have been Chappelle who was like, at first you're chasing after trying to be your heroes, and then eventually you start running away from them because you found your
Come
voice.
on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I think like now, you know, decade plus in, this is where I'm actually trying to kind of find my stride and voice in terms of like how I want to sound and what I want to be when it comes to
Yeah.
it.
No, that's a really to me that's almost like a blessing in a lot of ways because it makes you think of like Cornel West has this quote about before you find your voice you find an echo,
Yeah.
right? It's like you trying to sound like all these different people and I'll say this to you, like I often think about sort of in a Harlem Renaissance sort of style where on a street corner I feel like comedians, preachers, teachers, and musicians all work the same block. And so there's a way, like I run into so many teachers who are also stand-up comedians, are also musicians, also
Yeah.
and so I think that there's a way in which like all that comes from this place of like, who am I going to be in this, right? So you may be emulating someone at some point, but at some point, if you're gonna get really good and stick with it, you got to learn who you actually are in it, right?
You really, really do. You really, really do. And it's you just gotta be patient with yourself, like giving yourself the patience and
Real.
grace. Cause it's like I think like for a long time I wanted that fast track. I was like, oh man, if I don't get a TV writing job in my 20s, like oh, what is it all for? But
God.
then eventually I just realized like I'm not gonna stop doing this. I think it's like it's just a part of me. Like I just can't
Yeah.
stop.
Totally. 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 That's really it. So thinking about like you've been doing I see you doing stand up work, but also catch you more for me at least like online like with the TikTok videos and the Edison show and things of that nature. So uh, talk to us a bit about like how do you balance like the comedy and the commentary because you're not just going for laughs. It don't feel like you're just going for laughs. Like it feel like oh that's funny, but that's real.
Yeah, for the online presence of like doing online stuff is like it's still so new to me. Still learning and figuring it out. And I'm trying to avoid having like just the niche.
Hmm.
And then like I think balancing it, um, I would say is like I know for a lot of the stuff I put online, I do talking heads because I feel like that's all I'll have the energy for. Because it's like I think online being a stage is still relatively new. I think like when I started
Sure.
comedy, like when I first started comedy, like doing online stuff was like corny. Like people thought it was kind of hack
Yeah,
until
yeah.
it became like the platform, because we had like Quinta Brunson who just kind of broke through it, and we had
Right.
and then the BuzzFeed hit. So it took
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
me being a millennial dinosaur, I saw the predate of that, and people were just kind of shied away from it, and I kind of shied away from it too.
Yeah.
But now I'm realizing because at first I was like, oh, I want to be good on the stage. I want to make sure that whatever I do on the stage sells.
Right.
And so now I'm learning, okay, I can go ahead and like put out content and still, put on quality shows, sketch shows, or improv shows on the stage. It just means that like each meeting has to look different. And so like, improv is be improv. I just get up there. I'm just gonna have to do it and follow the rules. Sketch, I think is like where I put like a lot of my physical energy towards because like
Yeah.
writing, editing, rehearsing with a group, and so
Right.
like the most like
Strenuous.
strenuous, like physically intact. Yeah, it's like you don't feel good until after that show is over.
Leave it. Right.
But it's like one of the most rewarding, but it's like also like, oh my gosh.
Hmm.
So when it comes to online, I'm like, okay, I could at least make that the place where I do joke writing because I already do sketch on the stage. Let me just go ahead and do the joke writing just for online. And I think just me understanding like, okay, how do I want each pocket to look helps me kind of balance that out and know it's like, okay, I don't have to put on a sketch show at this venue and then also like produce, write, edit, and video edit for
Come
online.
on.
Yeah, because then
That's it.
that could be a while, and that could be a lot.
I'm glad you're saying this because that's something I run into just with the content I'm putting out into the world.
Mhm.
And I view all of my work as ministry, right? Like even if it's like lighthearted, I'm just like, yeah, people like I'm not gonna beat you over the head with the Bible, but I just need you to know like somebody love you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mad simple, but it's exhausting to your point where like I will sort of think of, okay, you made the sermon. Like, how do you break that down? It's like this piece of content for TikTok, which is gonna be different than the content on Instagram. Which I was like, I need a team. I need some deacons, some ushers. I need somebody.
Even so, they lock the doors.
Lock the doors until this content come out. Lock the doors and give me $20. We need a new camera. $20, everybody. As a completely aside, sidebar for you in the audience, I just listened to Marvin Sapp. He has a new song called "Close the Door." Like he really, the jokes write themselves, bro. Like the jokes write
Is it
themselves.
really in reference to everything?
It's really because at first I was like, "Oh, who's parodying Marvin Sapp?" But no, he really was like, "This is a moment," and he sampled the video of him telling the ushers to close the doors
Oh
and
my!
made a whole new song being like, "Y'all don't understand me. My heart was in the right place." Like kind of, it feels like a '90s R&B. I'm sorry, girl. I'll be better next time. But we're the girl. We're like we as the flock are the girl.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, man.
I'm
You
just got
got to listen to it. It's
that's
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, man. No, it's yeah, but doing all of that and just thinking about the way in which like the audience responds to you, like versus online or in person, like what's the one response you've gotten from an audience member, whether it be online or in person, that really like stayed with you, or you're just like, huh, that's thanks, I guess, like what's something that stayed with you?
Man, I think it's like when people see more in you than you see in yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
Because I think like what I tell people, and I kind of like held this in, before I even like moved to DC to start or started doing comedy in DC. Like when I was in Carolina, sometimes like audience members was like, "I can't wait to see you on TV," or I
Yeah,
even got
yeah.
that like last week, and I'm like, like I'm just here for fun
Right.
because I kind of treat the way that I'm operating this as like, this is like I tell people I just operate like this is my SNL, right? Like
Yeah, I love
that's great. Or if like, any other writing opportunity comes by, I treat this like it is because like I want to make sure I am doing my best. And it should be like I am, I'm on this platform, so now I can do my best. I just want
it.
to
Right.
be doing the best work I can be doing and just enjoying it and savoring that moment. Because this is the point where I'm kind of doing it with friends. And I think also another time would be like when someone asked me for a picture after the show. I was like, cool. I was like, this is white man. He was just really excited, sent my picture with me after a sketch show. I was like,
Right.
yeah, definitely. And so it's kind of
That's
like
awesome.
it's interesting. It's like, yeah, people sometimes see more in you than you see in yourself, and I think that could be really
Real.
tempting. Yeah.
Yo, for sure, for sure. And I love what you said though about like treating it all like SNL because I feel like there's the temptation to mail it in until you're finally, you got the Netflix deal or whatever it is. But there's also the reality like you're not getting a Netflix deal unless you treat the audience with one person. Because I've been to I've never done stand up. It's on my bucket list to like just try it one time. But like I feel like going and supporting my friends who are comedians and being at the like show where you have like the 2 drink minimum and like everyone the majority of the audience are, like friends of the comedians and you have
Yeah,
to watch all these depressing sets before your friend comes on. Being in those spaces, if you're not treating that like your SNL, then you'll never be sharp enough to get to like wherever you're trying to get to. So I really
exactly.
respect what you're saying.
Yeah, you just and I think it's like, I think it comes to fear of like trying hard and not making it and then people talking about it, but then like eventually I know even for me I had to get out of my head like, you know what, people are gonna talk either way. Just
Yeah.
just go ham, go do the best you can and see where it takes you. And I've seen comedians, it work out well for because do you know
Oh, say name again.
Ryan Davis?
Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah, Ryan Davis. Yeah.
My series going off. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Sorry.
All good.
Yeah, Ryan Davis.
Yeah, Ryan Davis, very funny.
Ryan Davis and I, we started stand up at the same time in Charlotte.
No
But
kidding.
yeah, I mean, and I think I always give him that he's always been talented and stuff like that. But I
For
think
sure.
like what propelled Ryan and what made him really special is that like he already had this mindset that like he is huge, right? And like
Right.
and the way he carried himself and the way he would just like produce top notch shows. Like he was just producing shows in Concord and all over North Carolina. He was probably
Yeah.
people I don't know locally in North Carolina start putting on content online, and it just started to snowball and roll.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And now I'm seeing, I was like, yo, like I used to do open mics with this guy, and now he's on the Breakfast Club.
Right, right, right.
He's doing fantastic. He's doing great, and like the content, like I'm just like listening to his stand up now. It's just sharper and better.
For sure,
It's
for
just
sure.
he always had that mindset. It's just because he was in Concord, just because he was in Charlotte, he didn't minimize those
No.
opportunities and experiences, and it just kind of rolled over time, and now he's just doing
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely, absolutely. No, I love that. I love stuff like that because it's really just honoring the craft and honoring the audience. Like, yeah, I'm in Concord, North Carolina, but I'm gonna give this everything I got.
Everything. It'll be the best damn show you see in Concord,
That's
North
right.
Carolina.
That's right. It could be at the Concord Mills. Like, man, I can't believe that show.
That's what you got to do. You just really have to put it all on the floor, and
Yeah,
not with the expectation of something in return, but just like you said, for the love of the craft, for the love of the
yeah.
game.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the importance of being a writer in this, right? Because I feel like there are people who think that, he's just funny, but don't necessarily understand like there's like a whole science of like you like writing and making sure your set is tight and all that. Like, so what was your sort of genesis and being like, oh, I actually enjoy writing this stuff. Like I know you mentioned the Tina Fey and Quentin Brunson earlier, but like what was it when you were like, you know what, I think I can write this, not just like tell jokes, but actually write jokes.
The writing for me, I would say, interesting enough. I think the writing in me probably started in college. I did the Davidson show, which is like
Hmm.
the campus sketch comedy show.
Right.
And so working on that, and then it would be great to get like messages from people who just enjoyed that content
For sure.
time that I did it. And then I think it was also like I did an English seminar project. I took
Yes.
an English seminar project, and like I was like, I'm just gonna do a short film comedy, a comedy short film. And so I wrote that, filmed it. It went over really well. It's probably the only reason I passed that class.
Yeah. That's fair too. That's real too. That's real too.
Buzzer beater.
That's right.
I and I think that's when I knew, because that was the whole reason I kind of went. That is the whole reason I went into comedy. It was like
Awesome.
for the writing. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I want to go ahead and go the MFA route.
Sure,
I
sure.
don't know if that's what I wanted to do, or that's how I wanted to get to be into screenwriting or writing in general. But I think yeah, in my senior year of college, I was like, oh man, I want to go into screenwriting, but I was like,
Yeah.
do the MFA route, and then that's when I picked up Tina Fey's book Bossy Pants.
Yes, I love that book.
And yeah, and just reading her journey of like, okay, doing improv can be an avenue to get to writing. You know, it's still an expensive process because
Oh yeah.
it's cost, but
Yes.
I think it was like okay because I didn't want to be so much of a dramatic writer either. I
Got you.
do like writing comedy, and I think comedy can say so much about our world, and so I just wanted to do that, go that route.
Mhm.
Yeah, also too around that time, particularly Issa Rae was popping off with Awkward Black Girl,
Yes.
and so
Yes, yes,
I was
yes.
trying to watch her transcendence from
Yeah.
online to, you know,
Right.
one of the biggest Hollywood moguls.
My goodness. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. And isn't it so dope just to be able to like see that? Cause you mentioned Issa Rae and just like watching Awkward Black Girl and being hooked on that show. Like I watched that show religiously. I liked it a lot more than I liked Insecure, to be honest with you. Like I really I really love the Awkward Black Girl. And just seeing how that just like sticking with it and just like really just allowing yourself to get better, like could translate into, like you said, becoming a mogul, you know?
100%, 100%. Yeah, so and that's really what it is, sticking it out, staying with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about telling jokes in this ridiculous time. Like I feel like on one hand you could say, wow, the jokes write themselves because it's so absurd, but
Right.
then it's also like man, things are real, real serious right now. But then like I've often said that chaos is a great time for the arts. Like whenever people are just like losing their minds, like, what, I actually want to like hear this person tell jokes or listen to this album or whatever the case may be. How do you deal with this in terms of like telling jokes where, maybe you're trying to be a part of the social change, or are you trying to give people an escape? Like, where do you find yourself in the midst of like, this time and space?
Mm. That is such a that's such a question I do straddle with. I think it's kind of like because I do see it as a ministry, kind of like you said before, and so I do think a lot of what I do is like trying to make sure people don't feel alone
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
times and feeling like okay, just recognizing that things are kind of crazy, things are kind of wild, but I could joke about the things that bring us comfort, oddly. Or I can joke about. I don't mind joking about politics. I like making political humor, and I've like produced like a political comedy show here in DC, but it sometimes it can be that, but it doesn't have to be that for me. Uh, I definitely prioritize like, is this really speaking to like how people are feeling within themselves right now and
Yeah.
whatnot. Social change, I do want to. What I do make sure of, like even if I'm not like on the front lines, like, oh, we're doing it.
That's right.
I just want to make sure my messaging is on the right side of history.
This is fair. This is fair. That's right.
Am I punching up enough where it's like
Come on.
y'all know where I stand?
Right, right. You don't want some kid in like 2065 be like, Edison's funny, but he never said anything about this.
Yeah, some
Cancel.
taste.
Here's some hot takes. Get him out of here.
And I think point to that is like, I want you to know where I stand. I'm gonna make sure
Yeah.
you aren't feeling alone. But I think like, we saw a lot in the 2010s, or there was a big art of like clapter, where it's like people weren't
Yeah.
laughing, but they were clapping at jokes.
That's right.
And like, I don't want clapter, like,
Yeah.
because I feel like you could do, but I feel like I can make a good point. But I want you to like just have a lot of belly laughs and just uncomfortable.
Right.
Because it's like because if I intentionally want to give a speech or be on a panel, I can do that for
For
clapter.
sure. For sure.
But I don't want it. Yeah, I don't want that to be people are clapping at my sketch show for
No.
during the points where I want them to laugh.
Laugh. Right. No, but you even bringing that up, I think, and we saw that with like the rise of like the Daily Show in the early 2000s. I think it's really frankly because of the failure of journalism and those who are supposed to be the ones who are like providing insightful things. Like we're not supposed to turn to comedians for like profound political commentary primarily. That's like the side dish. It's like, oh, I got these jokes. Hey man, that was very astute. But now, because everybody who's supposed to be doing the astute thing ain't doing it, we gotta turn to y'all and be like, oh, riveting, clapped her. But that's not what you came into the game for, right? So I hear
Exactly.
you.
They brought Jon Stewart out of retirement.
Yeah, you have to put the 45 on.
John had to put back on that cape, said, "Okay, somebody."
That's right. Somebody's gotta do it, man. Not the hero they wanted, but the hero they need. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, but I
that's
mean, but
real.
that's real, and it's like so scary now because it's like I think about it, and it's like a thought I have now. It's like we are at the point I think with people were scared of PC culture. People were, ooh, PC, cancel, cancel, cancel.
Right, right.
But what scared me, what kind of put a shiver down my spine was like they fired Amber Ruffin from the correspondence dinner.
That's
Like
real.
this is nuts.
Right.
Listen to that interview she did. It wasn't that she didn't say anything crazy.
She did not.
She
She
just
did not. That's the crazy part, though. That was the crazy part. What she mean go to the truth? Like, the truth? Nah.
and so it's like people were so fearful of cancel culture and people
Yeah.
that getting out of control. But now we're having like, censorship. And I think about like, okay, as someone who does like comedy with a family of immigrants, like I come from an
Come
immigrant family,
on.
like, not to say like, oh, I'm so high, people are gonna my content's going out, but
Right,
it
right.
brings a thing like, what if something gets pulled and then like I have family members who are being attacked because of it, right?
That's right.
And
That's
like
right.
it's starting not to become a far fetched idea, which is
No.
it's
No.
like very, very fearful right now.
Yeah, totally. No, they're literally snatching people off the street. It really does.
Yeah.
If it doesn't give you pause, like I just think you're just like blissfully ignorant, frankly. Like if you're not just like, oh, they're disappearing people for
Yes.
real.
Yes.
You know?
Permanent residents, right?
Right.
Like this is wild. Like visa holders, this is
Yes,
incredibly, incredibly dark.
it is, man. It is. So what would you say to that younger person or that person who's, aspiring to get into comedy who is like in this time or in any time and they're like, "Oh, I hear what you're saying, Eddie, and I think I want to do the same thing." Like what advice would you want to give them? Like whether it be getting on the stage or creating content?
Oh man. Well, like I tell uh for folks who don't know, I'm a teacher, and so this is the advice I tell kids when it comes to writing. The first step of being good at anything is being bad at it. So
Yeah,
that uh
very wise. Very wise.
work helps you sharpen up. And
Yeah.
um I think I was listening to Ira Glass video like years ago about like
Hmm.
how it takes years for your taste to match your talent.
Yeah,
Really, really good taste, but like to produce work and content that matches it takes a minute. And so just being patient with yourself, find your audience, and then others will eventually find you. So just like really being yourself, and by you being yourself, you're gonna find there are gonna be people out there who connect. You'll be surprised who connects with what you put out there.
very
Uh,
real.
and then also too, I would say just take swings, take chances, take guesses that you would be, you know, otherwise fearful to take. Because I've said yes to things that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Right.
Like, I'm about to
Right.
my face. But eventually, I think it helped me rise to an occasion, and I just kind of was like, well, you know what? I could either follow my face, or I could just choose to work hard,
That's it.
and it helps you accomplish things. So I was like, take those big swings, take those big chances, challenge yourself, be open to anything. Because it took me a minute because I was a stand up first in North Carolina. It took me a minute to get to improv because like those two worlds did not intermingle at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlotte, where I lived and did comedy or stand up comedy, and I eventually did improv in Greensboro. But those worlds didn't mix at all, and I was like shy to say like, oh, I'm gonna tiptoe into improv and try it.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but that was the medium that helped me sandbox a lot of my voice because you get to be a new person and character every show, and then that helped. And I think it's like if I hadn't been open to at least trying it, I probably would have been stuck into like not saying like doing bad comedy, but I probably would have. It would probably been a lot harder for me to kind of figure out my place in the comedy world.
That's very real. That's very, very real. Yeah, man. So where can we keep up with your stuff, man? Like where like whether it's like upcoming shows or where can we
Yeah,
follow you on the socials, man? Where can we keep up?
Most definitely. So my Instagram and TikTok are the.edison.show, the Edison Show, Edison Eddison. So the Edison Show is where I'm on social media. I'm also an ensemble player at Washington Improv Theater, so definitely come watch one of our shows there.
Nice.
We're on 14th Street, a studio theater. And I also perform sketch comedy with Bad Medicine, and we have a residency at the DC Improv in downtown DC. So we have a show next week, April 26th. If you're in the DC area, April 26th,
Yes.
7:30. We have a 7:30 show and a 9:30 show. Please come out and support. We also have two great acts performing with us. We have Never Sad from New York and Screw Up TV from Charlotte, North Carolina. So those are going to be some exciting shows to catch.
Oh, for sure.
And a
That's
show
so.
tonight if you can make. Oh, we got a show tonight.
That's right. That's right.
We're watching the Improv Theater.
Pop out.
I'll be at the ninth. I'm performing at the 9:30 show tonight. At Studio Theater for Washington Improv. So
Oh, so dope, man. So dope. So dope. And he say, oh, tonight, man, please. He said, lest we forget.
oh, because this is a big year for the big time of year for the theater. It's our
Right.
annual improv competition, and
Okay.
yeah, it's such a fun experience because it's like improv is like one of the most supportive, like non-competitive communities.
Dope, dope, dope.
Competition going, you just see a different side of people sometimes.
Yeah. They kind of lock in.
Like people
The
are going,
gloves come off.
yeah, 60 teams, and we're in the final four. But
All right.
I'm vying to come back because my team lost last week, but we have a chance to come back through like a comeback bracket wild card sort of way. So
Wow. Okay.
we're fighting for our way back to make it to the final.
Yeah, man. Let's do that. Let's make that happen. I'm here for it, yo.
But yeah,
I'll make it happen. Indeed, indeed. Well, bro, this has been a joy. And friends, thank y'all so much for watching. Of course, as always, you can catch this on baddestchaplain.com, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any everywhere you get podcasts, man. Much love to you and yours. Till next time, we out. Peace.
peace.